to What's on the Menu, where you can tune in live on Boston Praise Radio 102.9 FM. What's on the Menu, Boston.com, BostonPraiseRadio.com, Facebook, and YouTube. We air live every first and third Sundays of the month. This week's conversation, LGBT on a national level. Your host, Siegfried and Roy.
Oh, here we go with these smart names again. I was going to say something else. She almost got me to swear, Jay, on the radio.
That would have cost us.
Oh, that would have cost us. And another thing, too, she's changing the names of our show, James. What is she losing her mind? Cheryl says, oh, my, did she tell us she's not even doing a show today? She begged to get on the air, and then the second week she's getting the chance. I don't have a topic for you. I don't have it. Well, today...
I like that shirt.
Yeah, like that shirt. That's right. Is everyone looking? We have new shirts for our show. That's right. We got these to advertise around the city and around the country so you can see who we are and what we're doing. I can't show you what's on the back right now because I can't turn around, but you'll see it on our website. Please take a look at it. And today's topic is the gay community. Should there be a separate agenda? And what we're going to do first, let me introduce our star power that's in the studio today. I'm going to go to my left. His name, he goes by the name of Mr. Gregory Duvall. He's a special education teacher. Say hello, Greg.
Hello, everyone.
All right, my man. Next to him, this gentleman's a good friend of mine, and he harasses me all the time at Mike's Gym in the South End. But even though he harasses me, I like a good joke every once in a while. That's right. His name goes by the name of Mr. Anthony Viola, and he is a librarian. Say hello, Ant.
Hey everyone, and it's JP, not the South End.
Oh, JP! Oh, I said South
showing
End.
Your age.
Oh my goodness! Omar's gonna kill me. Oh my goodness! Next to him, I've heard a lot about this young lady. Everyone was talking about her. Said I had to get her on this show. I think it was Reverend Wall. You been in here before?
I have not. No.
I think it was Reverend Wall. Someone told me I had to get you on this show. I'm glad to have you here. She goes by, and I love her name. Aliyah Muhammad. Aliyah Muhammad. Her profession, she's a security officer. Say hello, Aliyah.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
All right. Great radio voice, huh?
Thank you.
Don't try to take my job, Aliyah. Don't even try it. Next is another gentleman that's in the studio with us today. He's a special education teacher, molding the minds of the young. You got to give him credit, and they need summons off because that's not an easy job.
No, it's not.
Yes, and let's say hello to Mr. Alvin Cooper. No, he's a fifth grade teacher.
Fifth grade. You know, Tracy, you changing my job.
I'm just going crazy today.
Hello, everybody. Tracy is over here changing my jobs. Fifth grade teacher, everyone.
Fifth grade teacher. And there is someone in the studio. She's way over in the corner, hiding. Don't want to be on the show. That's right, everybody. If you know her, look her up and get on her. Her name is Jazz. I don't know the whole name.
Jazz D. Ramos.
Jazz D.
Ramos. Put him on there.
Put her out there. Well, let's get right to this conversation. You know, I want to go around and let's start with you, Greg. How do you identify as a member of the LGBT community?
That's actually a great question. To be very honest, I don't know if I identify with it at all.
Okay. And why is that?
I just kind of see myself as I'm me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a brother. I'm a husband. I'm an uncle. I'm a teacher. So,
okay. I like that. Anthony, how about yourself?
I just happen to be a gay male.
Okay.
Fall into that same group.
Okay. Aaliyah, how about yourself?
And I'm a lesbian.
Okay. And
I'm the cleanup hitter. Cleanup hitter. You know, if you had asked me this question about 8 years ago, I would not have answered it. I'm okay with being a gay man married to a man.
Okay.
And that is actually through the power of love and being married. So
you should be okay with that because you're a good brother and I've known you for a while.
Yeah. And he fly.
He fly.
That's my man.
I want that jacket, you know? I want that jacket. I'm going to go to Aaliyah. She's the only woman on the panel, on this panel. What should folks know about the gay community? What should folks know that they may not know about the gay community?
I think that there are a lot of assumptions about LGBTQ people, and that everyone's experience is the same. I think each person and their identity is a personal kind of discovery that they have within themselves, and it should be respected, that journey. I feel like there's a lack of respect and a chosen ignorance just to not ask questions or to not use Google because that's free and takes the labor away from other people. So I think that, that's something that I think a lot of people don't know, but I think it's just because people are scared.
Alvin, what do you think about that?
Well, one, I agree with Aaliyah. I think that we have come to a point where we're trying to be so politically correct in the nation that we forget that we're dealing with people and it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to say you don't know. Everyone, as Leah mentioned, everyone's personal journey is just that, their personal journey. And we have a tendency right now in America to lump everyone together. And it's okay to say, you know what? I don't know anyone gay. I don't know anybody transitioning. I don't know anyone that's a lesbian. Can you explain?
Okay. And when I actually when we were thinking, when the team was thinking about this topic, one of the things that I thought about, it was what you said about yourself, Greg. The first thing that that I thought you were going to say as identifying was, I'm a black man. And this is what we were talking about with the agenda. We're wondering if when one group separates from another, does it take away from another issue that may deal with race, as this country is dealing with racial issues on a consistent basis? But just in saying that, are there particular groups, locally, nationally, that are more politically, let's just say on a national level, are there groups that are strong on a national level that really portray and feel that you're strengthening the agenda of the gay community?
That's first, the word agenda just kind of gets under my skin sometimes, because I don't think that there's no script, there's no outline of what the gay community is trying to do. We're just living. So I think the rules, the rules that we do have been put on us by others. Like, it's not something that we all decided and say, well, we're gonna wake up in the morning, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. This is the houses, we're gonna go knock on doors and see if they're not gay, we're gonna make a
Survey,
it's
Census.
It's sure. And to go back to your other question really fast, being a black man is being gay is like third or fourth on the list. Like, black is number one, male is number two, all the other stuff, gay is the least of it on the list, to be quite honest.
Well, let me just say something about being black that really reflects on what just happened. We just had two black men walk into the show.
Walk in late.
Have you heard of CP time? CP time. That's the black agenda right there. We can't get it. We're late.
At least I've made it.
There you go. You got to come up and speak into the microphone as well. Introduce yourselves really quickly.
I'm Markel Norton. I live in Boston. I'm a Boston resident, but I'm originally from Texas.
All right.
Hey, Dean Rollins, originally from Boston. I live in Boston.
Okay. And my question was, I just asked a question regarding, as everybody kind of described themselves, has the agenda of the gay community taken away from the agenda of black folks? With the folks that identify, if you're black, does it take away from that agenda? Go ahead. I know you had something to say. Go ahead.
Yeah. So no one wakes up in the morning and say, hey, I want to be persecuted. A black man in America is persecuted right away. Our communities have been decimated by drugs, by incarceration. There's a disproportionate number. And then to throw sexuality on top of it, oh, gee, I want to wake up and be a black gay man in America. Greg mentioned being gay is like fourth or fifth down on the list. I got to survive every day being a black man.
Sure.
And that, honestly, when we start talking about the LGBTQ agenda, I'll put it in quotes, I understand why people don't identify with that agenda. I got to live. I have to survive. And, when we start disaggregating what the agenda is and how it affects different parts of the community, people of color end up getting the short end of the stick.
Sure.
and it is about being a black man first. Sorry.
Yeah, so with the agenda, I feel like there's no agenda besides that we want to live without being persecuted and have our rights and be treated equally. That's the only kind of gay agenda there is. And I think when it comes to identity, especially if you're a person of color and you're already being oppressed on other levels, your sexuality for me is a really big deal to me because I find it a really big part of my identity, a big thing that, affects my life. And who I choose to help and what I choose to do. I think that each movement, whether it be race, class, gender, lacks a lot of intersectionality. And the Black Liberation Movement did that with women and gay people. And we separated ourselves, not realizing that our fight is everybody else's fight. And having that respect for someone's identity actually empowers us as a community rather than separates us.
I like that.
Can I ask?
I'm learning.
Did we separate ourselves?
No, we were separated.
Right,
we were excluded from things because you're not enough.
Right.
And historically, the pushback when the gay community was saying we're fighting for civil rights the way the black community was, black community could say, you can always pretend to be straight.
That's right.
A black man or woman cannot pretend to be white.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So there's an overlap and there's an inability to step back with the safety.
And there are different kinds of oppression too.
Yeah, I just want to say for myself personally, I very much support every aspect of the gay community. I remember when Mike's Gym, the gym that was in the South End, it pretty much catered to the gay community at that time. It was a good opportunity for me to learn, and I realized how ignorant at times and how wrong I was about the community. So that's why it was important to do this show. But I'm also curious too. How do you folks on this panel feel about at times the black church, especially was very visible around the Catholic Church? Mm-hmm. How do you feel about what happened in those aspects, and how do you practice your religious beliefs?
At home.
You don't go to church anywhere?
We used to. I won't name that church, but the experience, I grew up Catholic, so I know about that whole thing, but we did attend a church briefly, and it was wonderful. The message was wonderful. We left every single service, anew, so to speak, until gay comes up.
Sure.
Until that one scripture or that one particular event that you want to participate in, and you guys are married.
Mm-hmm.
And then it changes. So we're no longer the camaraderie and the worship. Everything changes.
And I'm sure you can see it just from the look on their face.
Just from
my
the look.
goodness!
Yeah.
Why did you shrivel your face up like that?
You're married. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and nothing else comes after that. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead. Anybody else want to chime in, please?
In the case of the church, it wasn't only that we were married. The pastor went as far as saying, it's okay that you're married as long as you don't practice any physical activity.
Oh, no, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me.
And then proceeded to quote Leviticus and a few other things. I think the pastor was taken back when I hit him with Romans and how I could buy his daughter because that's in the Bible, and how mixed fabrics are in the Bible, we should all be stoned, how planting crops are in the Bible, how touching the pig of a skin is in the Bible. And I had to break down the Council of Nicaea for him. See, the problem when you educate people of color, we're educated for life.
That's right.
And pastors have a tendency, I shouldn't say pastors, that's a generalization. This pastor had a tendency to not realize that he was dealing with an academic also.
Sure.
Told you Cooper's fly.
When
I told you Cooper's fly.
Oh, he's super fly.
When I hit him up, he was like, we need to just talk about this offline.
Mm-hmm.
And offline ended up being, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and practice at home and praise the Lord and not let somebody dictate my relationship with my Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And so
I think a lot of organized religion is sometimes really perverted and used for alternate gains. Like, you want a lot of followers or you want to send a specific kind of message, but you are very biased in the teachings. And I'm actually Muslim. And in the Quran, there's always a thing you always have to ask questions and observe and kind of think about what you're really practicing. And I think that people with religious texts pick and choose what they want to do and then kind of throw the rest of it away. And I think that it's important to look at religion, especially the larger monotheistic religions, in a bigger way and kind of be more critical on what does it mean today, not what it meant a couple hundred years ago. So it's complicated like that, like the hypocrisy in that, oh, but we love everybody, but not really all the way. It's not that unconditional love that God actually has for everybody.
Right.
They told me you were fly lady. You just doing your thing. And I got to say to you, I just got to go there. Those earrings, where did those things?
Oh, thank you. My mom gave these to me.
I was about to say
Yeah.
She just need to pick it the afro. That'll make it. Fellas, come on, jump in. What do you think?
Go ahead.
As far as religious beliefs and how do you practice?
Oh, I was raised Southern Baptist,
Oh,
so I'm in
goodness.
Texas.
Oh, goodness.
And I knew gay men in the church, and gay men are centers of the church because they write all the music.
That's right.
You play one single gospel song, it's probably written by a black gay man.
That's
Wow.
right. That's right.
So like black gay men were raised very intentionally, but they taught me so much about praise and being present in a place where they can praise the Lord, but yet still deny and oppress a part of their identity. So I learned that. I learned that one of the first black gay men I knew died of AIDS, and we never talked about it in the church.
Wow.
But he did teach me that like you can still praise the Lord and be in the space.
Okay.
But then in coming out and introducing myself as gay to the church, I still was met with love. And I think there's a stereotype of Southern Baptists are always going to hate you. And I think what we learn is a lot of us as black people, the church teaches us how to love.
Sure.
Teaches us how to love our community. And yes, there is erasure, but there is an intrinsic, deep religious love that is unconditional that we're all trying to manage.
It's something. Even when I hear the overtone of what folks are saying, you're still focused on the black this, the black that. So it seems like that's the dominant culture, rather than even of being gay. You know, I'm black first. I've heard that. Anthony, you hang out with a lot of blacks, so we're gonna give you that credit too. We're gonna give you that credit too. You my friend.
No infant knows they're gay from day one, but you're black or Hispanic or Asian from the day you're brought into the world. And as a child, you observe and you learn. So it would be hard. It would be hard for me to not consider every short-tempered Italian reaction I'm born to.
Okay.
Then the gay reaction.
Sure.
So it's absolutely necessary to be.
You know what I noticed about gay men? They got like great taste.
I see that all the
Yeah,
time.
they got like
Stereotype.
they got like great taste.
I mean, that's like one of the good stereotypes.
That's a good one.
It's like too high expectations though all the time.
And I gotta say that at the gym every day, Anthony's making a pass at me. Great taste.
I'm very charitable.
I'm on the mic every week. Eli, she wanted to say something before we take questions from the country. Dean, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Say something say something about.
Just get you in the conversation.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm here. I'm in the conversation. I'm enjoying it. I like to sit back often when things that I already agree with have been said, and I'm trying not to eat up too much time. But if something is said that I disagree with, I'm going to talk.
There you go. There you go.
I'll be right here.
All right. We have some folks around the country that are listening. And
So we got Miss Melissa from the A. What up, Melissa? She says, what does the LGBT stand for? Anybody? It's so open to the panel, actually.
So the LGBT, L stands for lesbian, G gay, B bi, T transgender. The acronym actually extends to LGBTQIA+. So the two is two-spirit.
Is that a rapper? That's a whole lot to remember.
Yeah. So two stands for two-spirit. Two-spirit is for indigenous people who believe that they are of more than just one gender that the colonialism, Western society has placed upon us. So there are a lot of cultures that believe that it expands past just one gender.
But there's a Q in there also, right?
The LGBTQ, queer or questioning, is for the Q. I is intersex, A is asexual, plus means everything else that comes under the sun.
Okay, I'm not going to remember all of that.
I can't remember all that.
If you need help, queer is like an umbrella term. So some people use it as that. If it's not questioning, it's kind of envelops all of those different identities. Technically,
I'm much older than folks here. That was a term that we used back in the 70s.
Is that insulting though to say somebody's like queer?
I mean, it's how you say it. You know what I mean? But it was used, I think, during that time more of a derogatory thing. But just like any other words, it's how your tone.
Yeah. Like the N word was reclaimed. Like the F word's been reclaimed.
So-
Faggot's been reclaimed. Queer's been reclaimed because we know those words have power, and when we bring them back to ourselves, we're saying like you can't hurt us as deeply as you think you can because this word is ours.
Okay.
Got it. All right, this question actually goes to Anthony. It's actually from Paul from Connecticut. It says, why do gay people talk with their hands so much?
I'm over here.
For me, it's because I'm Italian. And we Italian queers talk twice as much with our hands. I think that is a stereotype. 'Cause I know several people who don't talk with hands. Deaf gay people definitely would have to talk with their hands. I just think we're another stereotype. We're very emotive. We're very flamboyant. Maybe they are. Maybe he just knows a lot of flamboyant gay
Yo, and it's
people.
funny. He says that he actually ends with the question like, "Does that make all Italians gay?"
Their love is their passion, you know.
Yes, absolutely. We got Miss Alicia. Shout out to Maryland. She's from Maryland, the DC area. What is gender identity?
You want to take it?
No, go ahead.
We'll
chime
so
in.
a little bit about my background. I'm an LGBTQIA plus cultural competency trainer and facilitator. So that's why I'm jumping in on some of these questions. Gender identity exists on a spectrum. So gender is really expansive. A person, I myself identify as a non-binary person. So someone who is fluid in my gender expression, gender identity. My gender identity is something internal. It is how I view myself as it relates to like social norms and expectations that are placed upon me and who I am. So that's what gender identity is about. Gender expression is how you visually see somebody, what they're wearing, what their clothes they got on. Sexuality is different from that because you can be a woman who is trans that is attracted to men. You can be a woman who is trans who is attracted to other women. You can be a person who is cisgender who's attracted to nobody.
That is what?
Cisgender. Cisgender means you are so you, Tracy, you're cisgender. You're someone who is born into the gender that they align with at birth.
Not cisgender.
Okay,
Cisgender.
You saw something I didn't know I was. Am I doing something wrong?
Tomorrow we'll give you your cisgender birthday card.
Thank you. Did you want to say something?
No.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I was going to hold it in, but you know what? You had said something back when you were growing up in the 70s. So I'm a little bit older than people on this panel, and growing up, the idea of cisgender and how you identified yourself, we didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about that growing up in the 80s. So being born and raised in New York, understanding Stonewall, and understanding being a male of color that liked other men, you kept that a secret. So this idea of LGBTQ2A plus, I got them all right. IA plus. It keeps changing. It does keep changing, and that it keeps changing, which is a good thing because it is our understanding and it is becoming our acceptance of. And as I was sitting here listening, I didn't have that growing up. You weren't gay. You weren't gay. You took great steps in hiding your sexuality and the activities that you did.
Let me stick with that question that I have. One of the things that going to Mike's Fitness in the South End was a real education for me. Having the opportunity to just feel comfortable asking any and every question that I may have had about the gay community and how everyone there accepted that because I was part of the morning crew. We all came to the gym at the same time. Does it hurt the gay community if somebody is gay and they hide it and they're not coming out and being who they are and they're in the closet, as they say? Does that help? Does that hurt the majority of gays who are trying to be who they are?
Good question.
No. I don't think that being in the closet is already freaking hard enough. Like, I think I went back into the closet like 2 times.
Be careful.
Sorry. Oh, gosh.
She said frickin'. That's it.
Ooh, sorry.
Pastor's over here.
So sorry, Pastor. I'm so sorry. All right, let me take it back. But when you're in the closet, I think it really only hurts you. And maybe if you're closeted and you're in a relationship, that also hurts another individual. Not being able to live your truth is not about other people. It's about you and yourself. So I think that doesn't hurt the LGBTQIAP everything community, but I definitely think that it hurts the individual, and it's really, really like heartbreaking.
Yeah, safety is real too.
Yeah, safety is
at the end of the
extreme
day, we have
concern.
to realize that people are still fighting for their lives, and Black trans women are being killed every day,
Yeah.
every day, and harassed, and they can't live the safest life they want to live. And so when someone's like, "I don't want to come out of the closet," that might be an issue of safety, and we have to recognize that.
Just because I get confused, honestly, transgender. What is transgender?
Transgender is someone who was assigned a sex and a gender at birth and decide to transcend that gender and change it.
Okay.
Now it also depends. Depends what these closet cases do, because almost every month there's a Republican that's outed for male prostitutes or some boyfriend there while they're voting against gay rights in the culture. So there's a lot of self-hatred preventing people from coming out of the closet. And then if they're behaving that way, they are doing harm to other people.
And it's racialized. Like, who are all those politicians? They're white gay men.
And what I want to add to that is you have to keep in mind, some people coming out of the closet will be disowned by their family. Black folks don't play that game. Neither do Latinos. What do you mean you're gay?
Sure.
You know, I don't want you here.
Especially Caribbean folks.
Listen, we don't
play that.
We don't play that.
There's a strategy.
Southern Baptist.
There's a strategy to the whole coming out of the closet. You got to do it at the right time and the right place. And again, Black
and hopefully
families-
someone doesn't out you.
Exactly.
Well, I can see Jazz over there. She's shaking her head. She's making all these.
Jazz want to jump in the conversation.
Oh yeah.
Shaking her head. That I agree. I disagree, but she's not moving close enough yet. We haven't hit the note yet. So I want to ask the panel: why should America? Why should we make adjustments? Why should we support the gay movements that are occurring in this country now? Why should folks make adjustments?
Yeah, I think it's everyone's human right to be equal and have everything that they need to survive and live. So it's not, everyone who's not part of the community is still part of the larger community. And if we're good to each other and support each other, the world will be a better place, regardless if what you do in private or how you love is different than somebody that isn't everything that you are and doesn't make you a good or a bad person. But I think supporting everyone, there's nothing that can go wrong with that if they doing things positive in their lives.
I would say the history of this country is a history of adjustments. We adjusted to civil rights. If we go back further, we adjusted to women's rights and having them have the vote. If we continue to go back further, I skipped over Jim Crow laws, right? We adjusted to Jim Crow laws. We adjusted to slavery. We adjusted to women's rights. We adjusted. So it's not a surprise that the consciousness of a people that has been elevated around sexuality, around identifying who they are, gender identification, it should not be a big concern around should we adjust. Of course we should adjust because we have always adjusted. Is where we are now, 26 countries that accept same-sex marriages, give or take. That are 26 countries that have adjusted their thinking. Taiwan hasn't come on board yet, but
Taiwan they did. Yeah, they legalized.
I couldn't keep up with the news. They're on board.
Yep, they are.
Okay, so Taiwan's on board. So we should adjust because we have a history of adjusting.
That and there's an Aboriginal proverb: "My liberty is tied up in another person's liberty and yours." So do not come and try to
I like that.
Don't try to save me.
That's good.
Work on saving yourself, and in saving yourself, you'll be saving me as well.
Elijah, why are you looking at me? Did I do something wrong here?
No, I'm talking to you.
Okay, just checking.
I don't know.
Elijah, looking
Where's the camera? I can look
I see back
Yeah. So it's cool.
Yeah, and I work with children, so I'm a child psychologist. And believe it or not, kids are way more progressive than we are. At the end of the day, they're like, gender identity, y'all still on that? Like, y'all still talking about, like, women and men? At the end of the day, my gender identity is toast. Some kid told me that the other day. My name is Toast. My gender identity is Toast. I like toast.
That's so cute.
And, like, why are you hung up on the fact that, like, you say you're male.
know
Like,
what?
because the change is coming because the kids are already doing
right.
it. Gender identity and sexual orientation is their lived experience. They're doing it on social media. They're visible. They're saying, I am here, you are here. We're going to build community. And these old folks don't get on board. They're going to die out soon.
You know, and I want to stay with that real quick. Then we're going to hear from our about our sponsors. Are we still on that negative stuff about the gay community? I mean, the gay community has gone through that phase of it. I think they've come out strong, looking good, have been very professional with the way they've gone about moving their agenda forward. And I think this was a perfect time to have this on our show to say, look, we've moved on past this negative aspect of things. We're trying to get things done. And I really like that point. That was on the money. We're going to hear from Cheryl, one of our producers. She has a habit of messing up the names of our sponsors. So we're going to see if she can get through it without making a mistake today.
All right, our local sponsors, Urbanica Build and Design, Eddie Jenkins Law, Callaway Graphics, Sweet Embers Bakery, J. Rockwell Sound Studio, Shun's Kitchen, Janie Construction, Leo Papil, George Kramer, and we have Suya Joint out in Roxbury, Mass. And, of course, Leading Ladies, Jerry at my hair salon.
Oh, I said that there was a stutter there.
Mess it up.
Stutter.
And our national sponsors are Better Belly out of Chicago, Illinois, The Shop, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Apon Concept Productions in Miami, Florida, and Campaign Industries out of Chicago, Illinois.
She got to give her. She's only done it every week for a year now, so she's still getting there. She's still making.
Yo, Trey, I got a quick question.
Sure.
Right? So, being in like the schools, like, have you ever seen like like students or a child who's developing? You know what I mean? He's kind of like, or he or she could be like, okay, I think this child might be questioning his like sexuality. You know what I mean? And they might come to you because they might see you as like their role model. Like, yo, how do I handle this? How do I come out, basically?
Mm-hmm.
Like, has that ever happened, or like, how would you handle that?
Go first.
It's important for all schools should establish a gender sexuality alliance for their young people and create spaces where they can feel the ability to speak to themselves and their identity in a way that is not judgmental, is not harmful, and they can be sure that it's going to be kept private. We all need spaces where we can do that, where we can just talk, where we can connect with other human beings. So, but as an educator who is working with queer students or potentially queer students, is understand that this child in front of me can be anybody in the world. They don't necessarily. I like to tell people the stuff that you do with queer kids works well with straight kids.
Absolutely.
The same.
Yep,
We're all
yep.
children. We all will benefit from the same support systems. So just show love. Love does not come with sex. Love doesn't have to come with anything else but love. So if you give it, that's the best way to take care of it.
I think working in a school building,
Great question.
I've taken the approach as of lately to be an example for whatever kid that is dealing with whatever he or she is dealing with. And I say that because we can't continue to force these responsibilities and force these rules on our kids and not walk the walk. So I can't ask any kid in my building to do anything that they won't see me doing.
Yep.
So I'm proud enough. I'll walk the hall. I'm not walking around our school with a shirt saying, "Hey, I'm gay."
Sure.
But if a child, if we have a student that will ask, "Hey, Mr. Greg, can I ask you a question?" Sure. Are you? Yes.
Sure.
I don't get too deep.
I just want to ask folks here that are in those environments, do you ever feel, as you're trying to help a student like that, there's going to be repercussions?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yes.
In some states, it's still illegal,
That's right.
or there are no protections for queer public workers. So if you come out, you can still be fired for being LGBTQI.
And you have to keep in mind, people come with their own lenses. So first order of business, it's easier for a white male to say, hey, I'm in the school and I'm queer, I'm gay, and you need to respect me, and here I am. Not so much for people of color, men of color, because you have women of color that have you're trying to turn my child gay. You're trying to make my child something that you're not. And that ideology permeates through our community. and it has a tendency to show up in decision making. So I might be a teacher that is married to another teacher who happens to be a man in the building. And there may be 199 other staff members that know that we are married. But I have to walk a very thin line around, do my families know? And are they ready to accept that?
Sure.
Because parents will come in and like, I don't want he ain't gonna be taught by no faggot.
Yeah.
Cool, but you
Right,
can't
you
teach my
can't. That's
kids.
right.
Yeah. And I
It's
think
very dangerous.
That's ignorant.
it's also really hurtful.
ignorant.
Like,
It is
it's
very
straight up
hurtful.
hurtful because sexuality and gender is fluid too. You know what I mean? So for
Right.
some kids, just being able to, you're like, hey, I'm thinking about this, like, and get that
Exactly.
support is so important. But the fact that people think that we're gonna like be perverts around your children, like. Pedophilia doesn't have a sexuality or gender to it. Like, that's just sick people. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but then I think that the gay community, right? We've had a history of saying that we're all about perversion and just like sinful
Exactly.
pleasure. There's no love and community and
Sure.
connection with us. So
Yep.
that's still like a really big stereotype, and it's honestly it breaks my heart.
You know
And being
what,
a
too?
mental health clinician in a school,
Yeah.
it's that same thing. They push them to a counselor. They say, like, this kid needs to go talk to a clinician, not talk to a teacher who's saying, I have a rainbow flag on my door saying you're welcome. You're welcome to come talk to me, and I love you. And I might not have all your answers, but I can find someone. And it becomes just like we say we need to see black people in the curriculum. Like, those kids need to see gay people, LGBTQIA people in their curriculum to know that they've
Diversity.
existed for years. We talk about Bayard Rustin. How many of us know that Bayard Rustin was a queer man and they told him to stay in the closet?
Sure.
Like James Baldwin. Like, those kids need to hear those stories and those lived experiences throughout the building, not just through mental health.
You almost messed me up. You said James Baldwin. I thought you said James Bond there first. I didn't know that.
Well, he's a smooth operator. You never know.
You know, I just want to say to you, Leah, you're absolutely right. And when I think about it, myself and my friends, we're professional trash talkers. That's all we did as kids. And you had to be able to talk trash in order to survive. Guy with big lips, you better be able to talk trash, man. They're going to just dog you all day long. So if for some reason I associated gay with pedophilia. And then I started saying to myself, like I said at the gym, I just said that to someone. He's like, that makes no sense. And he started talking to me and explained. I said, you know what, where did I come up with that thought? And it just stuck and resonated in my mind. It just, for some reason, until I really started to say to myself, just how ridiculous some thoughts can be and how they stick with you if you don't really communicate with others and discuss the realities of individuals' lives.
So while you're talking about this, right, I just brought me to this thought. Recently, like the rapper Common, he was on a show and he was saying that he was touched as a kid by another male adult, and he said that he's not gay, you know what I mean? Like, he likes women, but a lot of times we think like, okay, if this guy is gay, something must have happened like in his childhood. I mean, that turned him out. So it's just like that goes like, are people just born gay, or is it just like, I don't know, how does that happen?
And that's a big stereotype for lesbians too. They're like, oh no,
I'm a lesbian, by the way.
You're right, right?
You know that.
But that's really a big thing. I think that there's debate about whether it's like born or not. I don't think it's automatically in your brain. Maybe there's some like genes that make you more likely than other people. But I think that's just like with puberty. So around like 9 or 10 years old, young boys already know who they're attracted to, or even like before that. So you're like, who you're attracted to and who you want, you know that. Girls, it's about like 10, 11, 12. And that's when I realized that I was gay, but I just thought girls were really pretty and I want to be their friend.
Sure.
But it's different for everybody.
You know what? Just to say, that was another point that a friend made, that she told me she was bisexual. I didn't know, and folks would associate with her being a sexual freak.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I was like, something. I had that same thought, and I'm like, where does that come from? And she told me within a relationship she was dating a man. A man. Then she told the man that she was bisexual, and then the man was like, "Oh no, now I got to worry about women and men trying to talk to you." And his assumption was that she was just giving her body away like that. And I said, you know
Trace.
what? I had that same type of thought as well.
So, Trace, what you need to understand, anything that steps away from a dominant perspective of the dominant culture is going to be deemed as wrong.
Perversion.
It is a perversion. Thank you. It is. So, you asked the question, nothing happened to me when growing up. I wasn't touched. I was an altar boy.
You've been fly your whole life.
Right?
Just fly.
No. So this is a funny thing, right? So I wasn't touched. I was an altar boy. I went all the way to through Catholic high school, got married. And while I was dating my husband, he was like, "Are you sure you're gay?" Because I was let me go watch football. I'm going to go hang out. And
football gay.
Right. Well, it wasn't even hyper masculine. It was just me.
Oh, okay.
And, he asked me, he was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Nah, I like dudes." I do. I like dudes. But it was one of these things that you come with this stereotype, this lens that, okay, first of all, black gay men are going to be flamboyant. Not all of us are.
Yeah.
But you have to think about what's portrayed in the media.
Agree with that? Do you agree with that?
Sorry.
When you look at the media, what's portrayed in the media, people come with this lens that black gay men are going to be flamboyant. We're not. Not all of us are. Some are, some aren't. Everyone's in the community. We're going to, there may be some black gay men that come that are a bit feminine. Not all of us are.
True.
So you come with this lens of how you were raised, the experiences that you had, where you're from, where your parents are from, and what they poured into you what was poured into you as a society. And, the pressures, the fears, everything that made you who you are is going to shape your lens.
And let me just say this too about this discussion today. There has to be a separate agenda for the gay community. People need to know and hear what people feel and what they go through, and it's important that we talk about it. This is an issue that I'm kind of, the jury's still out for me around the gay community. The bathrooms, the public bathroom situation. It wasn't. I went to a show one time. I went to one of Elias's shows.
Dean,
excuse me. I'm sorry.
Come on, man. I'm sorry. He corrected you twice. Dean, man.
Sorry.
Come on.
So I went in and I went into a bathroom and I was like, well, I must have went in the wrong one. There was women in the bathroom. And then I went into the next one and it was men and women. I said, oh no, what I got to do, I can't do with women in this bathroom. So it threw me off, and I was like, honest to God, I went across the street to the bar and went in there and went to the bathroom. It was the first, and I'm older gentleman, so it was different for me to walk into that and not to.
You probably didn't really have to go.
Oh, I had to.
You would have went.
That was
you had to go. You would have went.
But go ahead. What about that situation with the bathrooms?
I never really. I try to look at it from both sides, but I've experienced the whole bathroom. Like you go in, do what you got to do, and you get out. I'm not in the bathroom to look at anybody else, so I don't care who's in there.
Yeah, I think the bathroom stuff, I think that when we just talked about like perversion and like how people have these stereotypes about gay people, that's why I think that there's this like, oh, we don't want trans people in the bathroom and we don't want gay people or intermixing in bathrooms, but realizing that everyone, if you just leave people the hell alone, they just got to go to the bathroom.
Right.
And I think that why we have gender neutral bathrooms or like co-bathrooms is for less harassment for people who are different genders or different appearing.
So have we become a country where we're comfortable and are we at the point that we don't realize that there are pedophiles out here and they may take advantage of a situation that could occur like that?
Yeah, that is a possibility, but I think that there's a greater purpose for why bathrooms are being more open or being mixed, and there's still, you could go to the men and women's or you could go to a gender neutral one.
Sure. And it's not just happening in the children aren't being abused solely in bathrooms. Just yesterday, some child was abducted on the street in a car.
Sure.
So there are more often in a crowded venue, a crowded bathroom, no one's going to be able to get away with something like that.
When I was raising my children, I was overprotective. I can remember in my daughter, for some reason, all her cousins and friends, they were all little girls, so they don't be at the house over the weekend. I take them to the movies. If one had to go to the bathroom, they're all going. I wouldn't even leave them in the theater by themselves. But I was nervous alone sending the girls in with women only in the bathroom. I'm at the door and I'm yelling instructions, but I couldn't go in. So then it just makes me, I just think about myself, how would I feel if sending the girls in and then a male walks in as well? How would I feel? It's just,
But you'd be able to go in that case.
I didn't think about that.
Right.
Yeah, and if another male walks in,
that's
you
right.
can
Why am I
you
still
make
at the
sure
door?
that's
they
safe,
want to be comfortable with you being a
Why am
good
I at
father.
the door? Tracy, are you in there? I can go in too. I didn't think about that. Jay, what do we have from around the country?
All right, we got my man Jimmy from California. He says, how does an individual know if they are gay or not? And this is open to the panel. He ain't say nothing specific. Nobody
Biology. Who are you attracted to? I knew at an early age when I was more attracted to Brenda Starr's husband in the comic strips than I was to Brenda Starr that maybe I was leaning towards a certain venue.
Okay. Anybody else?
Good answer.
That wraps it up.
That's enough.
All right.
All right.
Comic books.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you know, you know.
Veronica.
When you know, you know. You're just like, all right, this is who I am.
It's an
Comic
attraction.
book.
It's
Yeah.
like it's
yeah.
attraction. It's deriving pleasure. Like, who do I look at that makes me feel good? Who do I want to be close with? Who do I want to have a conversation with? And it tingles a little bit on the inside. Those butterflies are like all over the place. And it's like, who is that person? And they don't have to be male or female. Like, who at the end of the day, maybe they are part of a group, and therefore that means I'm gay. But who am I attracted to?
Good stuff. We got Miss Heidi from Boston,
I just
Mass.
also want to
Go
say,
ahead, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Also, like, you ain't attracted. If you're a straight man, you're not attracted to every woman.
Right.
Like, so you're
Yeah,
not
that's
attracted
true.
to every single person. It's about the person, and let's think about it as the individual. I am attracted to this individual, and let's remove all the grouping from it as well, and
Yeah,
we can
I'm
wrap our
so
head
glad you
around
brought
it.
that up.
Yeah, that's a good point. I be hating when dudes who are like, straight, be like, if they know somebody's gay, be like, oh, he gay. I be like, first and foremost, the dude might not even like you. You know what I'm saying? He might think you're ugly. Like, come on.
There are
Like,
many ugly straight men.
Right.
It's true.
And there's a lot of things we ain't putting up with as gay men.
That is
So
true.
go on and work out. Get your color coordinated.
You might put up with it, but I ain't.
Oh, I'm not putting up with you. You ain't got no job. That's not gonna work out.
You can't fall in love with your potential.
Right. Can't fall in love with your.
And Alvin,
Move out your mama's basement.
Alvin, I heard you trying to get Reverend Hobbs
Yeah.
together, talking about your socks, Reverend
I'm
Hobbs.
checking out
Get your sock game together.
Just start getting together.
Game wasn't matching.
Sock game together. I was there hustling. Okay.
It is together.
So here we go.
You know what, Jay? Before
ahead.
we move on, it's this idea that like straight men have when as soon as they find out somebody's gay. Well, I don't want him to be attracted to me.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
You don't got to worry about it.
Right.
I don't know how I would feel about that. I'm straight, but I
Except for
still,
you, Trace. I mean, we're all attracted to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Why do you think I hit on you every morning?
Don't insult me like that. Hey, Jay, what you got?
Oh man, we got Heidi from Boston, Massachusetts, and she says, "Why?" Oh, I always wanted to know this question. Why does the rainbow represent the gay pride or gays? Why does the rainbow? That's a good question.
So y'all can enjoy it. You can't have the rainbow. We get.
I like
I
that.
just took the rainbow. Like,
like
Good.
that.
I
like
mean,
that.
besides it being a rainbow, there's I don't know what each color means, but each color means a different thing. So and I forget who actually made the gay flag, but someone actually created that for the gay liberation movement, and to have some kind of identity. Flags are really important. I'm Puerto Rican, Jamaican, and Haitian, and you always see a Puerto Rican with their flag, right?
Yeah.
So flags and that identity is really important. So that Google is great because I do not know the person's name, but it was created for that like unity and to be able to like have a pride parade and have flags to take with
Now,
you.
this
And
is
if you check if you check Philadelphia, on top of it, they added black and brown to the to the rainbow flag, just as recognition that black and brown folk are a part of the gay diaspora.
This is what we forget too in schools. In the rainbow is all colors. You can get every color out of the rainbow. Okay. So
I don't know what colors you gonna mix that flag with until they added black and brown and made black. There wasn't no mixture of those
all
colors.
colors are black. Throw everything
all
in this
colors.
black.
Okay, yeah, I like
All
that. I
colors.
like that. All colors are black and everybody left trace.
But
I
again,
like that.
that's not the only flag. I mean, our community it's showing that our community is diverse and that it is expansive and that it like transcends color. Like we got all the colors, but we're more than just color. And at the same time, there's still other flags out there. Like there's a trans flag, there's a bisexual flag. Like we're not just saying
bunch
like,
of agendas, a bunch
Like-
of agendas.
like it's about the nuance and the specificity of each community's needs as they press against a dominant oppressive society.
So what we're
That's
going to
where
do
the
is
pink triangle comes
what,
from.
what I'm going to do is we have about 7 to 8 minutes left. Jay's going to ask one more question. I'm going to ask because I want each one of you to have a little time to just say what you want to say about your community. So Jay, one more.
So we have Adrian from Detroit, Michigan. If you're a transgender person and you're attracted to the sex you once were, are you gay or are you straight?
I love that question because actually some of my coworker asked me that the other day. So your gender and sexuality are two separate things. So say I transition to a male and I'm attracted to women still, that means I'm just a straight man at that point. Some people can, look into it more if they want, but my friends who are trans and people that I've spoken to, they're like, no, it's just now I'm straight. But or maybe the attraction changes, who knows, but they're not necessarily the same
That
thing.
just made me think of a quick question. So a man is heterosexual. He then experiments with a man. Then does that make him gay?
No.
No, he's just exploring. Sexuality is fluid.
Okay.
Like
a
sexual
continuum.
orientation and sexual pleasure are also different. Like I can go get my pleasure with a woman and still consider myself queer or gay because that was an experience and an action I decided to have.
Okay. Okay. One other question I have, and then I'm gonna give you guys some time to just say what you like to say in closing. Are there aspects of the gay community that are holding back the political agenda of the gay community?
I think there's a huge lack of intersectionality, and that's a really big problem, especially on topics of race and other people's cultures. It's that the intersectionality needs to be there within every movement because then it just holds everybody back.
Anyone else?
There's a lot of divisions within the gay community: ageism, looksism, racism,
Ableism.
Yeah. It's hard to transcend into a cohesive group when you're fighting amongst yourselves like that.
Okay.
But I think that's also part of all. It's not just the gay. There's a lot of racism, ageism, lookism. It was in the human community.
So I feel very comfortable asking this question because I get this question all the time. Tracy, who's the leader of the black community? Who's the leader of the gay community?
I mean, it depends who you ask. I mean, if you ask one black person, it's going to be like Lord Farrakhan, but it's going to be like somebody else to somebody else. But I don't know if I think we have like gay icons, like people that like we look to.
Who's a gay icon?
I don't know,
RuPaul,
Lady
maybe.
Gaga.
RuPaul?
That's like people, RuPaul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people love those people.
I like RuPaul. I always like RuPaul. RuPaul got a bald head. Where that little RuPaul's hair? Was that a wig?
Queen Latifah.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, I always thought
but
RuPaul was a girl too.
RuPaul was fly.
RuPaul was fine.
Making that
Good at
money.
his job. Exactly. Good at his
Okay, so
job.
what we're going to do is I'm going to give everybody the time to say whatever you like to our viewers and listeners and to say what you'd like to say about yourself, about the community, but give us something strong from the heart in regards, and we're going to get Jazz. You're going to come over here and say something, Jazz. That's right. We're not turning the mic off.
Come on, babe.
That's right. Markel, you're first.
Oh, I'm first. Ooh. It's all about visibility. We are here, and some of us aren't here because we are concerned with our own safety, but we are here. It is most likely in this day and age that you know someone that is of a different gender identity and sexual orientation, and so get with it. Like, develop that language. Make sure that you are saying, like, it is safe for you to have this conversation with me because I know you exist. And get out of that uncomfortable feeling that it is something you don't know.
Okay.
Because you have an opportunity to know it because someone you know does identify as such.
All right, I like that. I'm going to get this right. Next on the mic is Dean Rollins. Dean, you're next.
I appreciate it. Search for peace. Understand that our peace can exist. It can be coexistent. We can all have our peace at the same time, and my peace doesn't have to fight against your peace. Just let everybody live. Just be happy.
Okay. And Dean, very quickly, because you had a little bit more time, what are you working on right now? You're always in directing and acting? And
Yeah, this week on what are the dates?
It's Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday, the 22nd and 23rd at Boston Playwrights Theater in Brighton, Massachusetts. 949 Commonwealth Ave from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock. We are hosting the TC Squared Next Stage New Play Festival. I've been producing this one and have been directing in it, so come out and check out the work. We would love to have you there.
I've seen Dean do his thing, and he is fly. He does his thing on stage. Gregory, what do you have for us?
First, I want to thank you guys for this opportunity because oftentimes we don't have that platform to voice our thoughts and voice our concerns with certain things. So thank you very much for that. But I believe that tonight changes the mindset and just gives me another opportunity tomorrow to continue being who I am.
All right. Anthony, you sat through this, the only white gentleman on the panel. My boy, thank you for showing up. The reverse token. What do you have to say, Anthony?
2 words. Be nice. Be nice to each other. The term gay agenda bothers me mainly because it started out from the religious right fighting against what they portrayed as the gay agenda. And for those of you that can't see me, there are air quotes going on there. There is no agenda other than give us our equal rights that you have, and we will do the same for you. I'm not looking to step on other. If I were to get married, it does not cheapen anyone else's marriage.
Okay. I'm going to flip this a little bit because we have one woman on the panel, so I'm going to jump over, go to my man Alvin. What do you have, Alvin?
I would just simply say love is love. And there is nothing more powerful than finding someone who loves you and you love them back, regardless of whatever their gender identity is.
Did you hear that? Love is love. All right? Love is love, folks. Do not confuse that with any identity, gender. Love is love. Aaliyah, take us home, honey.
All right. Well, I would like to say, thank you again, you guys. It's so great hearing everybody speak. I think that I want people to just live with peace, love, and compassion, and understand that we're stronger together than separate. And we have to, celebrate our differences and acknowledge them, and then just be happy that we're all so unique and do that together.
Jay Jizzy! Was that a discussion tonight or what?
Yo, we changing the narrative.
Yo, we're flipping it, Jay. We flipping it. It's time for someone to give us a deal, baby. Time to get a deal. Jay, take us out of here.
Folks, you already heard it. From here on out, we bringing you nothing but the best. All right, shout out to all our listeners, people who's tuning in. Shout out to our guest, Trey Trizzy. I like that shirt you got going on. That's right. And I like to leave you with a quote: good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best. That's right, folks. Keep knocking, keep rocking. I'll holler.
Thank you.
Good show, folks. Good show. Good show.